It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. It's time for Powerbombed in the Pit. We're two tag team partners who love loud music, comedy, art, but most of all, we love the people who do all those things and love pro wrestling. So today we have Chris Lutzko from Unholy Two. These noise rock heels hail from Columbus, Ohio. Their sound is the audio equivalent of an FMW match and has been body slamming people onto flaming barbed wire tables via feedback, drums, and noise since 2008. Thank you so much for coming on today, Chris.
Woo! Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so let's start this off with what the podcast is mainly about. So how did you get into wrestling, man?
Oh man, probably phony Hulkamania's bitten the dust. I definitely think it was that era. 85. Around then. I think just all the mainstream attention and just action figures everywhere.
Yeah.
But I was just like a huge Iron Sheik fan, though,
Yeah.
and like I'd watch that footage back, and a little salty, but I always liked the villains growing up, and especially the curled boots and the mustache and
swinging the clubs.
Yeah, the clubs, and yeah, he was just, and then Hot Rod, Piper, and just like all, just it being everywhere, having the figures, and then just being able to renting the video, you'd rent all the pay-per-views at the video store, and just going to the bookstore and like all the magazines. So I remember just every Friday my grandma and me would go to the mall, and I'm just leafing through all the wrestling mags, and it was
I feel that.
Yeah, probably hiding the apartment wrestling ads, or but it was just a great way, and it prepared you for like, mostly we only had, is WWF on TV, but you did get to see NWA and WCW, after that WCW, so you'd learn about those stars, through the magazines and stuff, and by the time eventually getting into, say, like ECW, like 95, 96, it was cool to be able, like, I watched it the first night I caught ECWs with my buddies after we were coming back from a Bad Religion concert.
Nice.
and it's on at like, midnight, and just like already knowing who these guys, a bunch of these guys were from like seeing them in like magazines and stuff. And pretty cool. And like, oh man, like when I knew who, obviously, say in 92, one of my favorite things was like Flair coming to the WWF, and like I had seen his matches from like the videotapes and renting stuff and on TV too, but mostly it was like you'd read reading about him in the magazines and stuff like that, and just what an epic just carryover it was for him to be there.
I was lucky. I grew up in Alabama, so like we had a lot of like local, like territory stuff, like a lot of the Memphis stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and
I remember just like reading about that, and it's funny because they'd have like say the top 10 championship rankings, and you're expecting to see like Hogan at one, and they'd have like Lawler at the top, and you're kind of like, oh, who's this? And just how they rank stuff like that. And oh man, of course, like we had a satellite dish too.
Nice.
So that's how I got to see like all the pay-per-views. Like first, when I'd say like mid 80s to late 80s, we had like a buddy's dad that like pay-per-views would be on a Sunday. So Monday when he went to work, like a coworker would tape the pay-per-views the night before for him, and he'd get the tape, and then we'd watch it like the Monday after.
Sweet.
And so that's mostly how I did a lot of like, caught up on everything. But then eventually I figured out like our satellite dish, how to like watch stuff. And I think the first pay-per-view I taped myself live was 91 Royal Rumble.
Oh, nice.
So was that Slaughter a Warrior and the Mountie debut, and Oh
Hell
man,
yeah.
yeah, just the Mountie was always, the Rougeau
That's
brothers
what
were
it
like
is.
one of my favorite tag teams. So like, seeing like the Mountie debut, I was just like, wait a minute, and I think they even said it was Jacques
All these
Rougeau and gave us,
Canadians.
yeah, yeah, wait, I know that guy, and that's Jacques Rougeau.
Well, on to the other thing that this podcast is mainly about. How did you get into like start making music? Like, what was the band that made you go, "Fuck, I want to do that"?
Yeah. Oh man, probably. I remember like being obsessed with like Dead Kennedys. Like when like I grew up with like driving around a lot. I feel like my parents took me to like my grandparents a lot, or they're just at
Mm,
morning drives. So mostly I grew up with like the oldies station, but there's just like always music around, and I remember like just hearing the Stones like on the radio and like Painted Black. I remember and
yeah.
like just being like, whoa. But then like when I kind of getting into like punk rock just became like super like into, I remember the Dead Kennedys was like one of the first bands I really got into. And then it kind of went from, and I had already started playing like in like punk bands and stuff like that. And then we went, I'd say it was like 97, went with a buddy of mine to the Camp Skin, the record label Skin Graft, went
Mhm.
to their festival in Cleveland at this DIY space called Speak in Tongues. And, I had been to other shows, punk shows before, like bigger ones like Bad Religion or even some indie, like I was into indie, Pavement and that kind of stuff by then
Yeah.
too. Brainiac, that kind of stuff. Like,
Uh,
but I remember going to the Skin Graft thing, and I had heard U.S. Maple ahead of time, and Flying Lutenbachers and Lake of Dracula, just like heard them ahead of time, and Lake of Dracula canceled, but getting to see like U.S. Maple live, and it
I
was
can
like
only
nothing.
imagine.
Yeah, it was like nothing I'd ever seen, and plus this festival, before it was like, I'd seen normal bands, like I said, Fugazi, those kind of,
Yeah.
kind of the safe bands, and this was like they had like people dressed up as like their comic characters, and they had like a straight edge Santa, and they were kind of mocking that, and just it was like a freak show. And Bobby Kahn played, and I remember getting his first album where like on vinyl the mixes or the takes were even different, like the songs were different, a few of them, and then it had like these glued on eyeballs that when you shake the record they move, like that kind of thing. And just being like, whoa, this is like a whole another world where a little weirder than like what I was used to with music and what I thought punk rock was and stuff like that. So that really got me like, it really got me going, I think.
Sweet. That's definitely a good, like impetus, I guess, for like a better
it,
term. Yeah.
yeah, it was. I mean, just like the first time, I mean, going to. I mean, don't get me wrong. I remember going to Euclid Tavern and seeing Unsane, and there
Mhm.
was just like a couple like tough, like skinhead looking guys, like not even the band, just like
Yeah.
guys on stage, kind of like guarding the band and being like, oh shit, like this is kind of scary. And
Yeah.
then I remember like going to like a place like that Speak in Tongues, like that festival where it was more like, oh, this is a little more weird, but it's kind of in a weird way inclusive. Like they did like they called it Now Wave, and it was like start your own Now Wave band. And I remember like it was these little just everybody jamming in different parts of like kind of the bar like kitchen area of the it was a DIY space, but they
Yeah.
had like a set up like that. And I remember getting to jam with other people and being like, yeah, this is like just way more fun than just like playing some chords and just playing bass in a band or something. Like this is wild.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Uh,
Yeah.
who are some bands or albums that have influenced you the most, other
Oh
than US Maple?
yeah, yeah. I mean, bands that influence. I mean, well, Unholy Two. I mean, Cheater Slicks. Like, I mean, I pretty much like started the band so I could just like hang out and drink beers with those guys like more, than I was already doing. I was kind of like, leading up to it, just like going to every show I could of theirs for years. And, back to like the influences thing too, like just hearing a band like that, I remember from like the Crip comps and just like just like the 90s, like, you you'd get a like one of those compilation albums with like 25 bands, and you'd end up buying like everyone's record, all 25
Yeah,
bands. And
right.
you know I feel like I did that with Crypt or Estrus or the quarter stick comp, just like so many different comps I remember that like got you into stuff.
Yeah, that's something that I really miss about the 90s. I mean, now, everything's a compilation that you could just make on Spotify or whatever, but there's just something
Yeah.
about like getting a cheap CD and you're like, I know like two of these bands. I hope that the other guys are good too.
Yeah,
It-
exactly. And it'd be like, yeah, the comp CDs, they'd always be like just a few dollars too. And yeah, they'd have like, I loved reading through the booklets and all that, kind of crap. And yeah, you could really like, I mean, that's how, yeah, those Crypt comps. I remember finding out about the country teasers that way, and just, I thought it was just going to be all Turks or a little kind of
yeah.
norm core. No offense, brothers, but yeah, just some a little weirder stuff on there.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Beguiled.
so thinking about all of that, what would be your ultimate three band show? Either one that you would love to go see, or one that you would like to be a part of.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's great because yeah, I'd been thinking about that, and just I like the idea of the being a part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I would love to be able to see White House.
Oh hell
I mean, I'd have
yeah.
to put them. They're actually our drummer. They're playing Japan this year, or in 2027 at Hospital Fest, and
Oh,
our drummer got a ticket already. So I might
nice.
have to try to make it out there. But
Oh
yeah, I would
God, that
definitely.
would be insane on multiple levels.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, it's in Osaka, and just like
Oh,
going
wow.
out there, either trying to play one of our shows like after the festival, or just going to wrestling too, and it
Yeah,
just,
Yeah.
right.
I really, yeah, really
You'd
want
have to
that.
go to Rivera and get a steak.
Oh my god, that's like, yeah, that's kind of my dream goal, going to Rivera.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
White
Uh,
House, like that would be insane. I saw Cut Hands and that was pretty intense. I may
oh,
have been on
nice.
psychedelic drugs.
Where did he play Cut Hands at, in Texas or
Yeah, in
Texas
Austin.
or? Oh man, that sounds really awesome. Yeah, I would love to see William Bennett live like that, do that. But yeah, I would say, I'd have to say like Bill, White House. I wish I could have saw Rape Man,
Mm.
that Albini band.
Yeah.
I did go to the that one of those, that touch and go kind of reunion fest where Big Black did like a like 3 song mini set. I remember they played
Mm.
Dead Billy. It was pretty sick. But yeah, to get to see Rape Man would have been pretty sick. And yeah, so I'd say those two. And I know, do we slap our own band on that one already?
Hey, it's your
Or
three band show,
I
so you
I
got the final
know.
say.
Okay, wow. Well, I think just for, just to set the record, I think maybe we put Boyd Rice on there too, a little Don
Oh,
action. I got to see him at Scully's out here in like 2013, and
Mhm.
it was incredible. And he was just super cool, like about, just like hanging out afterwards, broing down, drinking Bud Lights, and
oh God.
yeah,
That
yeah.
that blows my mind. I can't picture him drinking anything other than like wine or, baby's blood.
Yeah, martini made out of exactly baby's
The
blood.
Yeah.
real dirty martini.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could have hit his tiki bar. I don't know if you've ever seen. He used to have a tiki bar in
Oh
Denver,
shit.
Yeah.
Tiki Boys, and there's through whatever kind of old tripod website, whatever old websites are out there, the
Angel
broken links.
Fire.
Yeah, exactly. Like an Angel Fire. There's like old photos of him hanging out at it, and with different, it's like a soul band, and like just different real, like, whoa, what is going on here? Just like a lot of characters that you wouldn't expect him to be.
Yeah.
Just like art freaks though, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I randomly met his ex, Lisa Suckdog, like when through a mutual friend in Alabama. Like she was
Oh,
she was living in Alabama for a while.
wow. it's funny. She came through a few weeks ago to do like a spoken. We couldn't make it. My wife and I tried to go, and we even talked to the organizer about she was, doing like these plays, like reenactments of her interviews. And I'm like, are you like, and there was an opportunity. I'm like, are you going to get to play Courtney Love and I could play Boyd Rice in this thing? But I think they already either had those characters. They wanted us to play something else and we couldn't get the sitter in time and stuff. But I would love to. I have actually this, I have this photo I'm in our practice room. Let me, of like one of their family photos.
Dude, that is
Boyd,
wow.
Boyd, Lisa, and Wolfgang.
Oh my God.
I'll have to take a picture of me with it and send it through or something stupid. But
please. Yes, please. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, that's one of my like favorite scores. I don't know if eBay's cheating, but like kind of the kind of auction that like you wait. You're like
this is just so random and I have to have it.
Exactly. And I couldn't, like, I'm hovering over it because I remember they had all the snipe, like people would talk about sniping on eBay and you get outbid at the last second. And so I got that one. And then there's another one where it had like more like lasers even in the background, even a little weirder. I couldn't get that one though. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, my days of like, oh my God, yeah, I've got a little bit of Boyd Rice memorabilia. I've got the infamous like Sassy magazine he's in, like the teen magazine where he's with like a controversial right winger in that one, and they're like holding pocket knives, and it's notorious, but I don't know, something about it. A piece of the forbidden fruit, or I don't know how you,
yeah. Well, so to kind of piggyback off of that, some of your music with Unholy Two does have some wrestling themes kind of throughout it. What caused you to kind of bring your passion for wrestling into music?
Yeah, probably just being like, it's kind of like, what do you write a damn song about? And oh wait, this is something I kind of know about, and I kind of like the correlation. There's something about the way I don't know, a band works in wrestling, a wrestler works, or like a like a wrestling show and like a punk show, and it's like, you got your set or your match, and just that kind of vibe off it. And it gives you a chance to be, just wrestling is just such a wild fucking world of everything, so it gives you a chance to kind of play with that. And I think at the same time, I wouldn't say it's a cop out, but anyone giving you like I don't know, we've off and on have been, our band has been given a hard time, believe it or not. And and I like how you could just be like, well, hey man, it's just a wrestling song. Come on. Hey, give me a break. Just a little song about wrestling. No one's getting hurt here.
Right.
But
exactly.
I mean, but it's kind of true too, though. And that history of wrestling and rock seems to go together in such a weird way. I mean, I just saw a clip of what David Allan Coe singing at like a Stark, or what was he, singing with Dusty Rhodes and all the boys, and just crappy stuff like that. And no offense, I thought maybe I could do a better job with music and wrestling than David Allan Coe. So
it's wild. Like I mean, going back to like Jimmy Hart was in bands, and then like you had Exotic Adrian Street, Imagine What I Could Do to You, which a band from Austin called Jefferson Trout. It's like members of the Dicks and Big Boys. They do a cover of that, and it's awesome.
Oh wow, I'd love to hear that. I love the that Adrian Street record with Testify, or is that the Beauregard? I think I'm thinking of instead. But I love a little wrestling rock.
Then even Terry Funk did an album. It's like,
shit! I haven't heard the Terry Funk album.
Yeah, I think it only got released in Japan. Like,
Oh
don't quote me
shit.
on that, but yeah,
Okay.
like,
That's all because I have seen all those Japanese wrestling LPs that look so amazing, and I figured it was just a lot of them are just the boys' music and stuff like everyone's music. Uh, but oh man, I got to check that out. Yeah, oh yeah, I got to say, and like, man, last time I was in Austin, actually, when we met or whatever,
yeah.
and I remember coming through, and first we went to Memphis to Goner, and man, probably the biggest regret of my life is not picking up that Jerry Lawler LP that they had there. I was beating myself over over the head for weeks over that. It was like we just got there and we hadn't sold. They didn't. They bought records off us too, and it was cool. But like, kind of, we didn't go through all that yet. And I'm just like, man, just like, do I really need to drop? But you know what I mean? Am I really? But then
This
it's like,
much money on a Jerry Lawler record.
exactly. And I'm like, is this tourist vinyl? I remember it was next to a copy of, oh man, the Mike Ness solo album on like pink vinyl, And I'm like, yeah, this is, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But man, I really beat myself, and plus, like, now what records go for compared to, in 2019,
Yeah.
just getting priced out of a lot of stuff. Although, I don't know, the place out here, Used Kids, is pretty awesome. And I feel like went to this place, Attic Records in Pittsburgh, last weekend too. And just, there's places with like $15 killer records and stuff still. And yeah.
Yeah. There's like, there's a record store here in our town, and the only thing they really have that's good is they have a ton of like live bootlegs. So,
Oh,
but
right.
yeah, we usually go to the Bay to go record shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember a punk band called Hickey?
No.
Ah, they're
Oh,
they're awesome, but they're from the '90s. But
okay.
we
Wrestling
just
oriented
randomly
too.
went into this one record store, and their drummer was working there. I was like, oh hey.
That's awesome.
This question just popped in my mind. This is going to probably hit, I don't know. But if you could write an entrance music for anybody, past or present wrestler, who might you write or want to write some entrance music for?
Oh my goodness, that's a great one. I know you go with someone like Bruiser Brody, just like the like the ultimate big man. I know he came out the Immigrant Song though. See, he already had kind of a big song.
True.
Yeah, I know it's a tough one, but yeah,
it is a tough one.
Someone a little more death matchy, or maybe
Mm.
even like a Kevin Sullivan, like Prince of Darkness type thing,
Hell
So
yeah.
yeah, I like that. Or hell, maybe even the Dungeon of Doom. Let's yeah.
Ooh.
Shark.
Also,
Yes.
Yeah. It's that's the thing about wrestling. It's kind of, I love the the obscure kind of characters, or the that came through and
Yeah.
only around a minute. I don't know if it's there's maybe a certain pressure that comes with, like, watching like a really big match, or something like that. I feel like not to be like, one of my a favorite match of mine, believe it or not, is like the Muta Hogan match in Japan in like
Ooh, okay.
'93, and it's just like an epic match where they kind of switch where Hogan like goes to use the chair on him, and Muta blows the mist, and almost like Muta's like a baby face for a second kind of move, and
Yeah.
it's a killer match, but I feel like it's like so epic, and
yeah,
just and no offense, no offense to the Hawkster, I'm not really sitting around watching Hulk Hogan matches either, but
No.
there's a certain big match feel
yeah, that's a
to it.
great match. I mean, I love Muta. He's like one of my all-time. I'm literally wearing a Muta shirt right now. So,
Oh hell yeah, I love it.
yeah, this
Oh, yeah,
killer
that's
match.
great though. That's great though about like writing an entries, wrestlers music. I love super into just like the Midnight Express, like they're, that's
Yeah.
them coming out to that song and, just that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. So, like, who are some more of your favorite old school wrestlers? I know you said like Iron Sheik, Piper.
And did you have any of their action figures since you were
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about action figures?
Yes, that's the thing. And I'll have to send it through the chat. There's a picture of me, Christmas 1985, 5 years old. And and it's, me in front of the tree and everything. And I'm holding the tag pack of the Iron Sheik and Volkov.
Oh,
Nice.
So,
fuck
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was like, but it's funny because, you'd get all the heels and you can't really just, I mean, I love nothing more than I love than a heel versus heel match, but you'd have to kind of, it's kind of like how I was with like GI Joes. I'd only have like the
Yeah.
Cobra guys, but you'd kind of make yourself buy a couple of the good guys, and just
Just to even up the odds a little bit.
yeah, for a little cannon fodder.
For sure.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
oh man, go ahead.
Those
Yeah,
big
yeah.
LJN thing, though, man, those guys were brutal. Catching one of those to the back of the head.
Oh yeah, that would really knock you. Oh yeah, we used to toss those around, and I remember my buddy lighting his Hogan on fire and throwing it out the window. That was like my high school. We were pretty old by the time I feel like he lit it on fire and did that kind of shit.
I'm
Definitely
not.
shooting off fireworks with GI Joes attached. Definitely did that.
What is
Oh
this,
yeah,
Sid
love.
from Toy Story?
Hey, that's what
Yeah,
some boys do.
That's what
Blow shit up.
love the honky tonk man though was like, oh man, that was like my guy though. And I feel like that the whole like SummerSlam '88, him getting
Mhm.
squashed, I like never got over it. And and that was the kind of thing I really, so I never liked the Warrior at all. Like I'm a little
Mm.
more now my attitude with wrestling is kind of like, oh, I just anyone who's a wrestler, I respect pretty much,
Yeah.
so a little different. But yeah, back then I never liked him. And oh, I remember, talk about like renting like the wrestling tapes. I remember, just to see like the other guys renting like a Hulk Hogan tape, and because he wrestles like Big Boss Man and Honky Tonk Man. And I remember like, just having to hear that damn song like over and over again, and just him beating the guys you like. It's like, yeah, I don't really need to watch this that
Right.
much. Yeah. But yeah, there was. So yeah, I remember him Hogan beating Honky Tonk Man on like a Saturday Night's Main Event. That pissing me off too as like a kid. And yeah, you'd kind of hold it against these guys forever then.
Yeah. Is there another like match or another couple matches where you also felt just utterly betrayed as a wrestling fan?
Oh, that's funny you say that. Cause yeah, that that's one of them. Um, oh, well, what really, not
I feel like
necessarily a
I've opened up a
match.
can of worms right
I
now.
know, I know. I'm like thinking of all these matches, but I remember not necessarily a match, but when it kind of hit me that wrestling wasn't like as real as I thought it was. And
Yeah.
it was like at a house show in Canton, Ohio. And, they're
Mm.
filming, they're probably like 94. It was like 94, 95. I remember it was around that Dean Douglas, like when he first showed up era. And
Mm.
so pretty late in life. But I remember they like Owen and Yoko had a tag, they were on a tag team with like
Right.
Cornette, and they were doing just they filmed multiple weeks of promos just back to back, and I remember just like Owen being like, next week we're gonna do this, and then it was like just the segment after, okay, here we are, and it was kind of like, could you have just they talking about something being next week, and here it was like 5 minutes later, and it really like since then I still think of it like, couldn't they have worded it a little differently so it didn't seem like it was totally made up.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's just like they ripped the curtain back and you saw the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
no.
exactly. No, yeah, and that and I remember my dad would always be like when specifically when Flair would do kind of that when he'd work the leg and he'd put the leg on the ropes and jump on it.
Oh.
I remember my dad just being like, "You'd break a person's leg doing that," and just that kind of stuff. I mean, that was part of being a wrestling fan. Having
Yeah.
like the naysayers.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Did any of that cause you to like stop wrestling or watch wrestling at all? Like, there's a very interesting kind of trend that I have seen from those that we've talked to about wrestling, where they in their teens kind of stopped watching wrestling. Did you at any point stop watching wrestling, or did something happen that might have caused you to, or not to
Yeah.
stop wrestling?
Yeah, and I think it kind of maybe even does go back to, talk about like matches that would piss you off or just something
Yeah.
like that. Like first of all, I like the heels, so like they
Mm-hmm.
never, well, they're not winning like the WrestleMania main events or the
No.
big matches. They're just kind of setup guys, and I just remember in college I kind of had stopped for maybe like a year or two when I went to art school, just so much work going on. and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I remember specifically it was when like Flair, like when Lesnar first started, and I remember just him
Mm,
like him, they jobbed out Flair to him, and just a lot of like that kind of stuff would it seemed like
yeah.
Flair was always just losing, and that would always kind of bum me out. And just even that later period where he's just only getting beat up, he's like a good guy getting beat up all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, that would annoy me. Even nowadays, like a year ago, like when like even like Kenny Omega and Jericho, like it seemed like they were just like they were like turned into these like wimpy good guys, and they were just like getting beat up all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Are there anybody like currently like in it doesn't matter what organization, but like any newer wrestlers that you're like a big fan of?
I mean, I love Zack Saber Jr. Like,
Mm,
oh man, he's just such a
Yeah.
technical wizard. And I still love MJF. I think he's
yes.
great.
He's definitely one of the best hills out there right now.
Do you think he's going to lose his hair next weekend?
I know it's funny because well, I'm had a bit. I play these virtual pro wrestling 2 games with some buddies of mine.
Yeah.
We meet up every once in a while, and we just had some in Pittsburgh, and I feel like we played until I lost, obviously, the belt, and it's like I could see them wanting, like, if I want a rematch for the belt, someone should probably bring up, you got to put your hair on the line, or
Exactly.
someone's got to do that. So, but yeah, that's a big stipulation. And yeah, what do you guys think about just Darby winning on TV? I know some people didn't like that, or Omega after he beats, or after MJF beats Omega,
Mhm.
the next night he loses on TV or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they could have handled it better, but I mean, I love Darby. I think the kid, I mean, his whole vibe is awesome. I mean, he's kind of like proved himself not to just be like, crazy coffin drop guy,
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
showing a little
He's
bit more
he's
of
more
the
than just
technical
the
side here
yeah,
lately
yeah.
to show that he like actually
Yeah,
deserves to be a champion. And just him just knowing MJF, just no, no.
yeah,
I'm not giving you a
yeah. I'm
shot.
fine with it too. Something I kind of would have liked it to be a pay-per-view. It seemed a little like hot shot in the title out of nowhere,
Yeah.
but it's fine. It is what it is. It's not gonna make me
Yeah.
not watch or something.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I kind of look at it as in terms of character development for MJF. Like this came out of nowhere. He was quote unquote given like what, an hour or something like that to prepare. And he
Yeah,
loses it. And then not only does he lose it the next night, he is now getting denied every single time he has, asked for the championship. And so I think that it was a little more along the lines of character development for MJF to show him like, hey, you're not the god that you think that you are. You're not, like you need to humble yourself a little bit. But Darby 100% deserves the run that he's on. I think he has put his body on the line. He has been a mid card. He has made people look good. He's done the crazy stuff, and I think this is his time. And so, I think it was good on both parts. And I agree though with both of you. It could have been handled a little bit differently.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to their pay-per-view match.
Absolutely.
I know, you can cry about booking all day, all day if you want to. Like I saw, I remember, just like I feel like it was the last pay-per-view when, just Okada is in like an opening tag match and eats the pin. And you're just
Yeah.
kind of like, it's like, I get it's to set, his feud up with
Yeah.
Takeshita or whatever. But it's still kind of like, okay, this is Okada. Like, and he's in the opening match eating a pin in a tag match that doesn't really matter that much. But, I'm okay with it. I'd like to see, I'd like to see him in bigger, that's my only thing is, they've got just such a huge, great roster. It's kind of like, okay, now now here's this new guy, who's in these matches, and it's kind of like, well, where's all these big stars you just signed or whatever? But I don't know. I like the huge roster. I like AEW a lot, and what just how it started off to me is like, oh yeah, we're gonna get like, the best indie guy, or just the best wrestlers from all over the world, So
yeah, I mean,
I miss Joey Janela. I miss like there's something about when Joey Janela was there. Even it really did feel like, oh, you really do have like this like ragtag best of roster, and they still let him work indies and stuff like that. Which sometimes I feel like that he's like, they're giving away like the Gabe Kidd Omega match in New Japan last year was like one of my favorite matches of the year, and it's like you're kind of like giving it away to New Japan. But that's fine. I love New Japan. So.
Are there any other new wrestlers that you're a big fan of?
I think anyone else who I went through. That's that's probably maybe the anybody with like a weird cocaine gimmick. I like those guys. Those are kind of weird.
Cocaine.
I'm loving all the different canes.
Yes.
It's like there's Gain. They're just like it's so ridiculous.
I haven't seen that. Yeah. It's like I used to not. I wouldn't have thought I would. Where I'm at now, like as a kid, say I would have never went. I don't think for like like even Leatherface or like a Freddy Krueger, like those kind of like FMW gimmicks, even the horror gimmicks. But as I got older, and I think wanting to see something maybe a little more ridiculous, I love it now. So I think there's there can still be some fun in wrestling, and without killing the business.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I mean, talking about AEW and like they've had their faults and they've dropped the ball on a lot of people. Like the way they did Danhausen, I'm just like, how did you mess this up, guys? I mean, I know he got injured and stuff, but I mean, it's like you could have done so. And I mean, and then I hate to admit it, but WWE they picked up the ball and they did essentially what AEW. I mean, not should have done, but could have done in a way. Like,
I can't tell if it's a thing where when they get a hint of like a wrestler maybe leaving, even if it's like a year out, they're just like take you off TV, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I know. I feel like they did that with. She became Blake Monroe. What was her name before
Mariah May.
Yes, that. Oh my God,
yeah.
So I guess modern. I mean, Tony Storm's like amazing. Like that feud was that was like top notch. One of my favorites. Where I'm like, and they got Luther. Dr. Luther from FMW. I feel like any wrestling promotion that still has some FMW guys on it somehow has got to be pretty awesome. So just I remember like that, like kind of almost like maybe breaking my heart a little bit. It was almost too perfect when they like just broke the three of them up and just their dynamic of like you know, the Butler and Mariah equal, you know, trying to always, you know, they're feuding a little, but trying to impress Tony, and just, you know, she turns on them all. And yeah, that was a really good one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so I know earlier, you know, we asked you if like you could do the music for any wrestler, who would it be? Well, kind of
Oh yeah.
flip it. If you were a wrestler, what would be your name and like gimmick, and what would be your entrance music?
Oh man, this is good because, like, just to preface it, like, I did a you know, I wouldn't even call it like a basement backyardy thing with my cousins
Oh,
and
hell
their
yeah.
friends, like, many years ago, where I was actually I was named Arthur Lee, you know, after the singer from Love, and I wore
That's
like this.
awesome.
I wore like a fur this. I don't even think about it. It had to be fake, obviously. My mom didn't have like a real fur coat, but I remember like bringing this like kind of fur coat, wearing that, talking like Dusty Rhodes, and I came out to
Yes.
the makeup song "Free Arthur Lee." You know,
Nice.
incredible song. So I know nowadays, you know, if I was a wrestler now, what kind of what kind of gimmick? I mean, I always thought my finisher would be like taking the cowboy boot off and hitting the guy with it, like you know.
Ooh.
So yeah, maybe some kind of cowboy
Okay.
gimmick. I like that. And oh yeah, who would you want doing that kind of music? Is there a
That's the big question.
yeah? I mean, I'm I'm a little obsessed with like the synth guy John Mouse right now. I know
Okay, yeah, I
he's
know who he is.
yeah, kind of a
Mm.
controversial character. So I think you'd want to get like someone like him, like some kind of crooner to
Yeah.
put that out, and some kind of weird, you know, Midnight Express kind of synth line.
Yeah.
Huh. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah,
Yes.
thanks. Yeah.
Well, so I know that it is a little late on your end, but I do want to end on a couple of more silly or ridiculous notes.
Of course.
So one of the questions that I want to make sure that I ask is for you, who would
Yeah.
be on your Mount Rushmore? You've mentioned quite a few awesome wrestlers and ones that you completely love and adore, but who would you put on a Mount Rushmore?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is a big one. I think you got to I think you got to get Terry. I think you got to get Terry Funk on there.
All right,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, I think you got to have Muta,
Mm.
and I'm going then for let me see. I'm putting Jacques Rougeau down, hoping
Ooh.
you
Wow.
put him on that mountain, maybe he'll get invited into the Hall of Fame. I think he's deserving.
Yes.
And the fourth one. Wow, my Mount Rushmore. Uh, let's get Sabu up there.
Ooh.
Fuck yeah.
I love. Oh my god, yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, catching ECW for the first time after a Bad Religion concert, that kind of changed my life.
Ooh.
And I remember it was around him and Sabu and RVD. It was the like stretcher match, which is one of my favorite matches. They were like hyping that and like handshakes and, you know, a matter of respect. You know, like Joey Styles was just so good putting that stuff over. I know. Just quickly with the I was just thinking about matches wise. I love they've got even on YouTube some like Madison Square Garden matches. So it's like you know, the different finishes and stuff that
Yeah.
you wouldn't see on TV. And I love the very first like Flair Hogan's on there, and it,
Mm.
you know, it ends with like the ref. I think the ref gets, you know, it's like a ref bump. Flair uses the knuckles, pins Hogan, everyone's booing. And then, you know, second ref comes out and they restart the match. And I think Hogan wins by DQ or something. But I
Mm.
thought that was cool. And even there's one with like, you know, the Mountie and Big Boss Man in New York. And, you know, you're used to like, obviously, Boss Man always win. You know, I mean, the big
Yeah.
matches, you know, the jailhouse match. But Mountie actually like gets a win in one of them. And yeah, I like seeing the heels win once in a while.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Heels are always more fun.
Who would
Yeah.
you, who would you put for your last one?
Oh yeah. Wait. Oh, my four. Who did I put for the
Oh,
Sabu.
you put
Show.
yeah, you put Sabu. You put Sabu.
Oh, Sabu.
Sabu,
Sorry. Yeah.
What would be the craziest Sabu move that you can remember?
Yeah, would it be the triple jump moonsault? I remember. I remember we would reenact. My parents had an above ground pool with a deck, and we would set the chairs up and run from one of the deck, jump on the chair to the fence to the water. We would try to reenact stuff like that.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, I love that, and I love the infamous clip or his match with like Cena, or he just, I think maybe he interferes in a Cena match and he does like, just a big leg drop onto Cena through the table. Love seeing that. Yeah, okay. Arabian face buster. I love all. Yeah,
that documentary was so good, but it was sad.
It was definitely sad.
Yeah.
Okay, so ultimate main event. Who would you just love to see just destroy each other?
Oh man, yeah. Who do I want to see? Yeah. Give me I'd love to see like a Brody Muta or some couple or a Brody Mike Awesome
or dude, that would,
oh man, I mean
either one of those would be amazing.
Yeah, and bringing it back to the Mount Rushmore even, I think Sid is highly underrated, just a lot of these guys that just maybe
don't get him
around.
to go up on the ropes.
Yeah.
Flippy floppies.
Dude, that's so brutal. I remember watching that, just be like, oh.
I remember seeing that at like this restaurant bar restaurant out here, and yeah, that was rough. Catching, that was nasty. Yeah, I miss. Gotta like watching Raw. I remember we used to have band practice, the 90s or early 2000s on like Monday nights and getting to flip around between the two shows in between.
That's where me and all my friends were like, all right, we're taking a break.
Yeah. In the 90s too. I remember, I'd watch with my cousins and they lived down the street, and just one of them like WCW, another like WWE, and I was more like lean to like WCW then. So we'd be watching them in like separate rooms because no one wanted to turn the channel and check. And,
Well, thank you so much for taking time out and doing this with us, man. We really appreciate it. And
hell yeah!
Thank you for helping reignite my love of wrestling, dude.
Oh man, I appreciate that so much. Yeah, I know you've mentioned the guy from Fucked Up too. Like, that would be that. Back to the you could play a show with a band. I think I would want to play kind of a battle of the bands, even with Fucked Up. We'll get I got my guy Adam Smith and Austin. Maybe have him build. We always talk about him building an Plaza meter. So I'd love to bring back some battle of the bands, and I think that'd be a good a little good versus evil even with that band. Yeah.
Have a battle of the bands and then a wrestling match in the same night. Now
I know
right there.
I've wanted to get like the other, the Leatherface that's still alive. Like I would love to bring him on the road with us and just have him throwing jabronis through tables ahead of time.
Yes.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
What shameless plugs do you have that you just want to shamelessly put out there?
Shameless plug. I mean, we've been practicing and we're working on a new record, a bit of a revenge album. And
nice.
We're ready to play shows. Just got to figure out where and when the best place, and just what jabronis you can even trust in the indie rock scene nowadays. So
that's true. It's filled with all sorts of jabronis. Got to pick your jabronis well, though.
Awesome, man. Well, when the new album comes out, please come back and we'll talk more shit.
Hell yeah, man. Let's keep in touch. And thank you guys so much for having me on. I'm glad we could get it going, and I had a blast.
Yes, we did as well. Thank you so much.
Dude. All right, talk to you later.
Hey everyone, this is Carissa. I just wanted to stop in and say thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. You know, everyone starts out small, and every like and subscribe definitely helps to get the channel out to others. We appreciate every single one of you nerds, as we nerd out with other nerds. So from Chris and I, a tremendously huge thank you. We have a ton of great stuff coming your way. So do a frog splash from the top rope, grab your battle vest, headbang to that sick guitar riff, and stick around to see who might be making their way to the ring next.